Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to Relaxed Retro Talk, episode 15, where we talk about our first games for each console we've owned or played. Because some of the consoles we never really owned, or we just never owned the game, but we played it first, kind of thing. So
that's right. Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be exciting. I was having a lot of fun making this list, and then I was laughing because some of them on this list are ridiculous. So I'm just throwing that out.
You can't really help what the first game was you played.
That's right.
Yeah, because it's not cases.
We're not talking best game on the console. Nah. We're talking the console's there, whether you own it or not, and that's when you put your hands on that controller and you play it for the first time. That's the game that
that's what we're
brings you in.
To talk about today. Yeah. But first off, we both watched the Final Fantasy Origins Stranger of Paradise, the new trailer that dropped, I think it was like Friday or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it looks a lot better than what it was before.
They got rid of the I'm here for darkness.
Chaos.
Chaos. I've come to find chaos and get rid of chaos.
And then we found out why he's so obsessed with chaos. He is kind of chaos.
Turns out
his name is Stephen Garland.
Jack.
Jack Garland. Oh, right.
My name's Jack Garland. Yeah, it's I'm not a big fan of that name.
Not only was that kind of dumb, but you think that'd be a big spoiler bomb that you want to leave for like the player when they're playing the game, is to find out they've been playing as the villain the entire time?
Yeah, I'm kind of sorta. I'm also looking at it from the point of view of, if they drop that in the trailer, what are they going to put into the actual game itself, right? Yeah. Because
maybe
obviously if they're willing to hand that up.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, and they're coming from a completely different direction than before, so it's interesting. The gameplay looked good. We still haven't seen like how it's going to play exactly.
Yeah, just combat pretty much, right?
So
combat. It looks a lot better than what it initially looked like. That's for sure.
When we saw it with the E3 thing, that was one thing, and now that we're looking at it from this perspective, I'd be willing to give it a shot.
Yeah, same, sure. Absolutely.
That's not a first day buy for me. But.
No. The one thing that would seal the deal, though, for me, is if it was online co-op. That'd be pretty fucking cool. Because you've got the 4 Warriors of Light. That'd be pretty cool. And the one
do you think they're actually going to do that, though?
I don't know. I think they might, because they're really. I feel like, I don't know for sure. I feel like they're really trying to push for like the Western market with this game, like,
right?
Because the Japanese for some reason assume that the Western market doesn't want turn-based. It wants this action-y style combat, and it's not. Here's the thing. I'm always shitting on Dark Souls and stuff like that, and Soulsborne and stuff like that, but. In the same breath, I loved Neo. I loved Ninja Gaiden. I like Team Ninja stuff. I just don't like From Software. I feel From Software games are very clunky, and most of your deaths come from like walking on a bridge and slipping off the bridge instead of like actually your fault deaths. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whereas Team Ninja stuff is a lot tighter. It's a lot more quick too. I feel like Team Ninja stuff.
Yeah, so. I think regardless of the game type, if the right company comes along to make it, that could change the genre, right? Like, I mean, I play a sports game if it's made by a company that makes a good sports game. Look at a game like NFL Blitz on Nintendo 64.
Yeah, NBA
right?
Jam, like Midway made so many.
You look at these. Yeah, you look at games like that where fast forward time, you're not going to see me playing Madden. You're not going to see me playing, NBA or something. So. I think there's a game in every genre of game out there that is for everybody, but depends on the people who make it.
Well, yeah, like there's a ton of people that don't like basketball or football. I hate football. I don't even know like the rules of football, and I have NFL Blitz on my N64.
It's good.
Like, it's a fun
it's a great game. It's just an arcade game. It's fun. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I'm looking forward to it.
I do like the way it looks now. I like that it is actually like either like a reimagining or a part, because remember Final Fantasy 1, there was the time loop, right? Garland was in a time loop, so maybe in one of the loops he's like not a dick, and he's like trying to end it before he becomes a dick because he knows he's going to become a dick. That's kind of my theory.
Or maybe he's in a time loop and doesn't realize he's in a time loop.
Yeah, that could be it too.
Right?
Yeah,
It's
because
just
Garland was a good guy. Like at the very beginning of the game, they're like, my best knight, one of my best knights, Garland, went rogue and captured the princess. Right. So that's kind of what's going on here. It's kind of cool. The thing that really, I think, one of the things that kind of made me like the trailer, and it was such a small detail, but the pirate fight really shows me that maybe they are actually following kind of the story of Final Fantasy 1 more than we thought.
Totally.
Because with the original trailer, it looked like every scene was just in a tower, and I was like, is the whole game just going to be in a fucking tower?
He's climbing the tower looking for chaos.
Yeah,
Gotta find chaos.
But
yeah,
that
they
showed
didn't do a
like
good job
multiple
showing
areas. You saw potentially the precursor to Shiva and Ifrit, right?
Yep.
Because they were like, "What the fuck is this?" And then they
it must be chaos. No.
Yeah, everything must be chaos.
It looks really good. I think, and maybe what happened was they went through E3, they didn't get the response they were looking for, and they were like, okay, hang on a second, let's reconfigure a little bit and then re-release out another ad for it, because truthfully, it looks like a different game compared to what they were showing at E3.
I think so too. And in the E3 trailer, if you remember, Jack was just wearing like a fucking mechanics t-shirt. Like he looked like he just rolled out from underneath the car from an oil change.
He was like, "Hey, what's up, guys? Oh, you're heading to the castle. I'll come with you. I gotta fix a car.
Yeah,
transmission.
The transmission's leaking sauce." So it looks like they're actually they look like they fit with the universe a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all that. So, but anyways, let's get into today's topic, which is first games for all the different consoles we played. Now, some of these we'll just talk about like the first game we bought or whatever, first game we owned. But some of these we're also going to talk about like the first game we played for that respective console. So we're going to try and keep it in order of console release ish. So I've got mine.
I went the same order as your list, except I added in the Xbox series.
Right, I added them as well. I added them in like random spots, but we'll kind of get there.
Sure.
So let's start with the Atari 2600.
Yes.
You go first.
Okay.
For this
so
one.
I never actually played Atari 2600 on an Atari 2600. I played the Atari 2600 on one of those plug into the TV joysticks. And the first game that we ever played on that was Yar's Revenge, which was
that's a good one.
That's a good starter game. If you're gonna start on the Atari, that's a solid starter game.
That's like top 3 Atari games, I think.
100%. The thing is, I don't think I could have appreciated the game as much as I needed to, because of where I came into in the lifespan of the game. Right? We're talking like coming into this game around
Xbox 2002 era or
like 2004ish, right? Kind of like around there. And obviously you're a square on a map and you're going to do stuff, and the game doesn't hold your hand at all. You have to know what you need to do because they were in the instruction books, and if you don't read the instruction book, tough. That's just how it is, right?
Yeah.
And so that would have been the first one that I played on the Atari 2600. We played through the catalog on those things, right?
Yeah.
My little brother was the one who had that little joystick thing, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's cool. The joystick's iconic, right? Like if you think
Absolutely.
video games, that's the joystick you think of. Mm-hmm. Stick, square, button on the thumb, kind of thing.
Right? Buttons on the base.
Oh, the buttons on the base, right?
Yeah,
was it the 5600 or 5200 had the button on the?
I think 72
had the button
had 2
on
buttons.
The top.
Yeah.
But the Circus would have been the other one.
Oh, okay.
Circus or something.
I remember not really liking that one, but I do remember.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
Yeah, it was really bad. For me, it was Asteroids was the first one. And
nice.
actually, I think that's backwards for you guys, but you get the idea.
No, yeah.
And actually, the first time I played it was on that same system. I played it. Bub's younger brother's system. He had that plug and play Atari, so I remember going over and we played a shitload of Asteroids. And the whole way that I would play Asteroids is as soon as I move, I'm fucked. Like, you just start drifting and you have, like, no control. So I would just stay in the middle and spin and shoot for as long as I could. And then...
That's a solid choice. The other thing is kamikaze mode, where you just go full speed in one direction as fast as you can go without trying to get hit.
Shoot sideways, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough game. Once you start moving, I find it really hard to control.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my first one, and then I think we played Adventure after that. That like maze one. Remember that? That one was really good.
Yeah. I have one console to add in here before we jump to the next one on your list.
Yeah. What's that?
Vectrex.
Oh,
Did you ever play Vectrex?
No, I've seen them,
man.
But I've never actually played one.
So my dad was friends with this guy at work. We used to go to his. My dad would go to his house and we would go there, and he had one of these things in his basement. And so anyone who doesn't know what this thing is, okay, so picture
they look cool as fuck.
Yeah, absolutely. Picture a CRT TV, okay, and it's only about this big. It's only about maybe, I don't know, a foot wide by 2 feet tall. It's a rectangle. And so when you're playing these games, okay, they've got a cartridge that you slap into the side of the system, but there's a plastic overlay that goes over top of the TV to change the colors for the game that you're playing. So if you're playing a game like, then they had an Asteroids clone called Mindstorm.
Oh, okay, and it was Asteroids, basically.
And it was Asteroids. And the first game that I played on that system was Blitz. It was a football game, and you were X's and O's, and you would run the play, and the little X's and O's would run their thing. Super fun. And the little controller was about a little rectangle. It had a joystick instead of a D-pad and 2 buttons like an NES controller.
Oh, that's really weird.
Lots of fun. Really cool system. It's like, I think it was from like 82 or something like that. 82 or 88 or something like that.
It was like laser graphics too, wasn't it? Like it was
it was just lines.
Yeah,
it
looked really cool.
That's why it's called the Vectrex, right? It's because it's vector drawings, like line drawings, right?
Right.
Yes, super cool console, right? Like I don't even know if you can even find the stupid things anymore, but
the thing probably worked super expensive.
Probably the thing worked so cool. It was definitely like we would go with my dad to visit his friend just for that purpose. We'd be like, well, see, you're going to the basement. We're going to go play that thing.
Yeah. I just remember, like, I remember seeing people play it, and I remember it being very smooth. Like, you compare it to, like, Atari and stuff. It was the smoothest.
There's no jitter, no nothing. Yeah, it was great. There was a racing game that I can't remember the name of any of this stuff. There was a racing game. There was, like, a Missile Command kind of game. There was this football game, and then the Mindstorm was built into the system. You'd have to pull the cartridge out to play Mindstorm. It was actually built into it. So.
Oh, okay.
Very cool.
Just very cool. Master System had Safari Hunt and Hang On.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Same thing. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I never knew anyone that actually like played one. I've just like seen
them
and stuff.
Yeah, very cool.
So the next game I got here is Double Dragon 2 on the NES. This was actually the first video game I ever played.
NES.
I used to play with my mom all the time. She got an NES. I think she bought the Nintendo Entertainment System, and it came with like the Duck Hunt Mario thing. But my mom, being a mom, didn't know that it actually came with a game. So she's like, I'm not going to bring this home and my kid not have a game to play, right? So she bought Double Dragon 2. So that was actually the first game I played.
And you were saying that game you would get to the building and then not know how to jump or something like that, right?
Yeah, we didn't know how to jump, so we would always have to lose a life in order to get up. There's like a ledge, and if you walk into it, you can eventually just fall off the building, and sometimes it'll spawn you up on the ledge that you can't get past. But the game was really difficult, so we would get to sometimes the first boss, and then we would die because we'd have to waste a life just to get up there. And because A was to punch in like this direction and B was to punch in that direction, like punch or kick. So we were like, there's 2 buttons here, which one's jump? Like there was no jump button, but you just push both buttons. But I was like 4 years old, I couldn't figure that out. My mom had never really played video games, so
right. First one for me, the NES, is a classic Super Mario Duck Hunt.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was the pack-in. Like that was the pack-in for the system that we bought. The first game that we bought after that, I think, was RC Pro-Am.
Oh, that was a fun one.
I
actually don't have that game.
Oh yeah, no, that one was a ton of fun. But yeah, the first game we played on NES was Super Mario, and I mean, man, like I remember just sitting there with my brother. We'd be and the cables for the controllers are only like 6 feet, so you'd be kneeling in front of the TV, right? But praying to the NES gods. But it was great. And then my younger brother colored on our NES with a marker.
Oh.
And yeah. Well, he's just, he was like 4 or 5.
What the hell? When you played Duck Hunt, did you put the gun to the glass all the time?
No, we never did anything like that. Because to be honest with you, we figured out pretty early on that made it so much harder. Like, it just didn't work, right? And I mean, we talked about light gun games before in one of the other podcasts, right? Where the concept is when you pull the trigger, it changes the screen from what it is to a black screen with a white square. Yeah. So we figured that out actually pretty early on and learned the further back you are, the easier it is to hit the ducks. So if you went the full distance, if you pulled that all the way back to right before you would lose
kind of thing.
Yeah. And you'd stand back there, you actually would hit the stupid ducks every single time because the way that the sensor would pick it up
is bigger, right?
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So we would find the sweet spot on the carpet, and then we'd be like, "Oh yeah, watch this."
Oh, really? Yeah. No, I was the guy that I would play legitimately for a while, and then it starts getting hard, and then I'd have it against the screen. You could just hear the plastic scraping on the glass as I'm sliding the NES zapper around, shooting.
Hey, TVs were made with glass back then. You were fine.
Yeah, that's what they were made for. And then clay shooting was super fun too. Like, oh my god,
that was
I think more.
Yeah, clay shooting. Well, what was Duck Hunt? Was 1 duck, 2 ducks, and clay shooting, right?
Yeah.
Afterburner was another one on the NES that we had too.
I think I rented that one.
A lot
once.
of fun.
Yeah,
and that was a not real NES cartridge. That was one of those 10-gen cartridges.
Yeah, because it was actually Afterburner is a Sega game, right? And they didn't have permission to make games on the NES.
It was really hard to play. Really hard to play.
Yeah, that one's stupid hard. Yeah. So next up is the Master System. I'll let you go. Go first again. We might have this. Do we have the same game, or is it different?
No, we don't.
Oh, okay.
It's different. So hold on. Wait, I shouldn't say that. What I did was I zoomed the picture out so I don't actually know what your picks are. Because I didn't want to know. I wanted to be surprised.
Oh, okay, that's good.
So here's the thing with the Master System. So my mom and dad bought a Master System to play when they were cool and they played video games back in the day. So we didn't actually play the stupid things. My mom was the one who was playing Space Harrier. That's my earliest memory of Master System. And she got like almost to the end of the game, which is unreal because that game is super hard.
It is super hard.
And so, but the first game that I ever played on Master System was Space Harrier. And man, what a great game. So that was the first memory I have of playing Master System, because we always had the same games. We had Space Harrier, and then you had Hang On and Safari Hunt, which was built in.
Yeah.
And then we had I remember going with my dad to a store called PV Mart in North Battleford.
Yeah.
That was where we bought the Master System games from.
Really?
I'm not even kidding.
Used to sell video games. It's
and
like a
so
hardware store now, pretty much.
Yeah, and we bought Rescue Mission and Ghost House from there.
Oh, right. You were big into Ghost House.
Ghost House is so much fun. And Ghost House was on a card.
Yeah, one of the
cards. It wasn't on a cartridge. It was one of the card games. So, but yeah, Space Harrier would be my first pick.
Same here, actually. My first one was Space Harrier.
Nice.
I got it here. And
such a good game.
It is a good game. I love it. It's a fun game.
See, here,
it's
way more
playable. Yeah, go ahead.
I thought you were going to be Alex Kidd. I thought it was going to be Alex Kidd for sure.
I did play a lot of Alex Kidd, but no, it was Space Harrier. You've said it before. Space Harrier is honestly better on the Master System than any other console, because the slowdown makes it a little bit easier. Like, it's more playable,
makes
right?
It playable. Yeah,
it's
the
so
arcade one
hard,
is
man.
too hard. It's too hard. Any of the other ports where they use the arcade, and it doesn't sound right. I don't know. The Master System just feels right. The sound, the
Sorry,
everything about it. That's all good. The music in the Master System to me will always be the right one. But there's so many different versions of the game. Some of the versions of Space Harrier don't even have the soundtrack in them. right? Some of the old the Atiga ports
Amiga,
and stuff like
yeah,
that.
like
Amiga
Amiga,
ports,
ZX Spectrum, stuff like that.
right? Like they didn't even have the music in there. It was just like pew 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 pew. Right?
Or it would play the music right before the stage started, and then no
Yeah.
music during the stage. They were like
Yeah.
all those old ones were like really bad for that.
Yeah, and then the arcade itself is just too darn fast. And then I've got on Genesis, I've got Space Harrier 2, but it's next to impossible to play again
It's so
because
fast.
there's just so much going on. It's hard to. Still fun.
It
but
is.
Yeah, Master System. That's my pick for sure.
I guess before we go to the next console, what was the first game you ever played then that you remember ever playing?
It probably would have been Space Harrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had the Master System before we had the NES.
Right.
My dad bought the NES from the co-op. Man, we bought all those old games and old systems from like the weirdest places.
Yeah.
And my dad got the NES from the co-op. It's actually really funny. And yeah, that would have been the first one. Like we played on Commodore 64 before we played on
like NES
consoles,
and stuff.
right? Like yeah, before we had the NES, we had Commodore 64. Before we had the Commodore 64, we had the Master System.
Okay,
and
so
I just
Harrier would
remember,
have been your first
yeah, like
game.
I remember Mom playing Space Harrier, and I had brought it the one day, and I was like, "Here's Space Harrier, you should give it a try." She's like, "No, I don't play that anymore." I was like, "Come on,
dude,
you gotta give it another go."
Because remember, I was gonna do like that big Double Dragon video
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
And then I did the first one and it bombed, and I put like 2 months of work into it, so I don't know if there'll ever be a part 2. But one thing I do want to do is someday just do even a review of Double Dragon 2, because I think it was Mother's Day or something was when I was recording footage, and my mom came down and I was like, "Mom, would you play Double Dragon 2 with me to record footage so I can put this in the video?" And she did. We sat down and we played Double Dragon 2. Yeah, you
got to make that video.
We got to mission number 2, like the second stage, and then she couldn't figure out how to jump still. So there's a difference, because in stage 1 you go up a ladder, and then there's like 2 roofs, right? Like, and there's a little ledge here, but there's no gap. It's just a ledge you have to get up over.
You can run off it.
So you can fall off this way, and then you'll spawn up here, right? So we can keep going. And I pretty much beat the boss by myself, because like I've played the game a million times. But the second stage, you're on the top of a roof, and then there's like a big gap here, and then there's a lower roof you have to jump to.
Right, you have to jump.
Have to jump, and she's like walking off as fast as she can, hoping her momentum will get her. So that was as far as we got, but it was cool that I actually got to play it with my mom. Like,
I want to see that video. If you want to see that video, put it in Duke's chat right now. Now's the time to spam it and tell him that we want to see that video.
Or if you're watching on YouTube,
I do think that I want to see that.
Let me know in the comments if you actually want to see it. Maybe go back and watch the original. What was the series called? That I was going to do franchise flashback Double Dragon.
I thought it was a great video. I mean, I'm going to blame that one on the YouTube algorithm.
I think
probably.
So. Yeah.
But I thought that was a really good video. I don't know.
But yeah, that was
maybe I'm biased.
That was just cool to me, was to be able to actually go back and play the first game I ever played.
That's like, really cool. Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Finney said he needs that video.
There it is. See, Finney has spoken.
So the next one, the TurboGrafx 16.
Yeah.
We're
not going to line up here.
Okay. So for me, it was Keith Courage in the Alpha Zones. This is it comes with the. Whoops! There you go.
That's the pack-in?
Yeah, it's the pack-in game. Where's the card? So this one is also a card. It must be in my console right now. Let me see.
Because the TurboGrafx cartridges were cards.
They were all cards, yeah. I'll grab it
cartridges.
so you guys can see it. So just one sec here.
Yeah,
I think
for
it's
sure.
I think it's just in the console.
Absolutely. The thing about the TurboGrafx is that it came out at a time where we already had the Master System. We already had the NES, and when there it is. That's so cool. I love games that are on cards. I don't know what
it's like. Don't bend. There's like warnings on it. I don't know if you can see. Oh, that fucking light. Do not bend, drop, or whatever. Put back in the case when finished. Which I apparently didn't do last time I played it.
That's funny. It came in a CD case.
Yeah, and then it has a little sleeve.
little sleeve. That's you'd think that they'd put them in something else, because like the Master System ones came into in the cartridge packages, the same ones. It just had
the big boxes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but I
think
it's for shelf real estate, right? If you had a little card thing, people would be like, "What the fuck is this? Like a trading card?"
Yeah, I suppose.
You know?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be that big. Like, think like Switch case sized.
Yeah,
right?
even that. Yeah.
So TurboGrafx 16, I never actually owned one. The first game that I ever played was Bonk's Revenge in the Radio Shack.
Right, we were talking about that the other night.
Yeah, we were literally talking about this exact thing. We would go to the mall, and then Mom and Dad would do their shopping or whatever, and then me and my older brother. My younger brother wouldn't typically come with us. It'd typically be me and my older brother. We would beeline it for Radio Shack, and we would just play the game there. And it was always Bonk's Revenge for like 3 years that they had it on the shelf. They just never changed it. Yeah, it was literally just the same thing all the time. And I don't even remember the game. I don't even remember if it's any good. I just remember that it's basically a little guy like Krillin. He looks like Krillin. Big bald-headed thing.
Yeah.
And he just jumps at stuff and smacks it with his head.
Yeah.
That was his thing. He just headbutts everything. It was a platformer game. That's it. That's all I remember.
Yeah, it was very bland. Like I really don't like the Bonk games, but people that were like hardcore TurboGrafx guys look at Bonk the same way I look at like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well, because it was the flagship like mascot for the TurboGrafx, right? Like,
yeah.
Did the TurboGrafx have a big game library?
I don't think so.
Like,
I don't think
it was that large, right?
It wasn't like it would have been like comparable to like the Master System, maybe a little bit less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad though.
Like they got like Street Fighter 2 later on and stuff. The TurboGrafx came out at a weird time because it
did come out. And that's what I was saying.
It came out like because the Genesis also, if you think about it, came out at a weird time. But the TurboGrafx, I think, came out even before the Genesis. I want to say it was the first 16-bit console. Everything looked more 8-bit than 16-bit because it was.
So it was the NES was out already. The Master System was out before that. The Genesis was on its way. The SNES was on its way. TurboGrafx came out right before that.
Yeah.
And then
tried to kind of capitalize on that.
Yeah, I tried to capitalize on that, but the games weren't as good. I didn't think they looked as good.
They didn't look as good at all. And then there were a couple good games, but I want to say there's maybe only like, I don't know, 7 really good games on the TurboGrafx.
Like must-haves.
Yeah. Like Rondo of Blood's on the TurboGrafx, like Castlevania, but it's on the TurboGrafx CD, which maybe like 1,000 sold in North America because nobody had the TurboGrafx, so why are they going to buy the CD add-on, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. Crazy.
And then next...
speaking of, Genesis was the next one on the list.
Right, yeah, go ahead with yours.
So, I never actually owned it. Well, I now own a Genesis, but then I didn't own a Genesis. So the first game that I ever played, I went over to a friend's house who, I can't even remember the guy's name anymore, and I feel bad about that, but Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And the reason why it was Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is because that was the game. Like, when we were a Nintendo household, we didn't have Sega consoles, and that was the game that was making me beg my parents for a Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
Because you would see it on the commercials. It was everywhere. It was, if you walked into a store, there was the 3-button Batarang controller.
Yep.
And Sonic the Hedgehog 2 up on the screen.
Just blasting across the screen.
We're like, can you buy us a Genesis, Dad? Can you buy us a Genesis, Dad? Can you buy us a Genesis, Dad? Can you buy us a Genesis, Dad?
And
no, he never bought it.
No?
Never,
yeah.
0. It was always a hard no. It was literally just 0%. Never gonna happen. So, no. Sonic 2 would have been the first one. When I bought this Genesis, man, what was the first game that I picked up with this one? I picked up a bunch of games because that was in the age of when retro games weren't. Well, yeah, they weren't that expensive.
Yeah.
So I got a big stack. I think I bought Vector Man. I bought a 6-pack that had the Sonic games and Golden Axe.
Right. Yeah, I had that. I think I gave it away to somebody because I already had all the games on it pretty much.
I got this big stack of games. I think I only paid $30 for it.
Those were the
and
days.
now you go back, you try and buy any of that stuff now, man. It's next to impossible.
Yeah,
so.
you were showing me earlier today. You were looking at a Master System lot, and it was
Yeah,
like $1,400.
somebody was selling one for $1,400. I was like, you've got to be joking. Now, obviously, that's inflated versus what it's probably actually worth versus whatever the cost is. But yeah, you can't buy retro games anymore. That's why these Raspberry Pis and
PlayStation Classics
hacked classic consoles are coming out because it's just impossible. You're not going to do that.
Nobody can afford.
And for what? To have a stack of cartridges that, truthfully, it's easier just to run it all through HDMI anyways.
Yep.
Different topic.
so Sonic 2 for me was also the first one I owned because it came with the Genesis. But
that's right. It was a pack-in.
Yeah, the first one I actually played was Sonic 1. My mom's friend, like, you know how you'd always go to like your parents' friend's house.
Yep.
And hopefully they had kids.
And then
so
you would go. Then you'd go play Vectrex.
Yeah, exactly like that. And they were the kids were like older than me, so they didn't really want to play with me because I was like way too young. But they had a Genesis, and they had Sonic the Hedgehog 1, and I would just play the Green Hill Zone and part of, I think it's Marble Garden, because I fucking hate Marble Garden. And
Sonic 1 was hard.
It was so hard, and it wasn't very fun most of the time.
No, Sonic 2 was definitely better.
But I remember loving the Green Hill Zone and just falling in love with it, and then my auntie had a Genesis, and she had Sonic 2, and I was like, this is the greatest game I've ever played in my life.
Much
up to
better,
this point, right?
Yep.
And then and then when I got Genesis, that's what came with it as well, was Sonic 2. So that was
Finney threw
cool.
a Genesis game in chat. Take a guess what game he's saying.
Gunstar Heroes?
Nailed it.
Was that the first one he played on the Genesis? Was Gunstar Heroes?
He said after Sonic 2 was Gunstar Heroes.
Oh, okay.
And that makes sense because if you've ever seen Finney play Gunstar Heroes,
he's a
dude, that guy is good. He is a crack shot. Absolutely,
Heroes.
man.
I can't keep up with that. He had to just finish the game without me.
He's just like, I don't even need you. You're kind of just here because I let you.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I'm equally bad at Gunstar Heroes, and Finney is literally like that. He basically invented the game.
Yeah, it's really
pretty much
really good. It's a good game too, and he's really good at it.
I mean, it's awesome. Yeah,
I think the next one I would have played was Dynamite Headdy. Probably was the next.
Oh, okay. I remember you talking about that on your New Year's stream. You said that you thought he was throwing popcorn everywhere.
Yeah, when he's like sucking the one vacuum where he's like sucking stuff in. It always looked like he was sucking in popcorn to me, but it's clearly I think it's like cold dust or something.
You said you would throw popcorn around?
Yeah. No, I go and throw it at my face because that's like the sound he would make. I was like, oh my god, so stupid.
That's too funny. Love it.
Next up is the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, it is.
For me, it was Super Mario World, of course. Oh, did I even show Sonic the Hedgehog 2? This is the one that came with my...
There it is.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I also have a fun story about Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Hit it. Hit me with it.
So this is my original box that came with the console. If I could fucking open it. But this is not the original cartridge. This, every time I move, be it as an adult or as a kid, I always lose something. And when we moved, when I think I was 11 years old, we moved to like a different part of town, and I lost Sonic 2 in the move. Anyways, a couple years later, I ended up dating this girl, and she had Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and I would play it a lot at her house, and I was like, fuck man, I love this game. Like, I used to play it all the time. And I was like, I could borrow Sonic 2? And I borrowed Sonic 2, and then I like broke up with her like the next week. Like it was kind of pre-planned. And so yeah, this is her copy of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sorry, not sorry.
She probably didn't miss it at all. Just a copy of it.
Yeah, but that's my.
Like, I don't care. I don't even play video games.
Yeah. And then Super Mario World.
Super Mario
was
World.
My first Super NES game, and probably is still to this day the best Mario game I think I've ever played.
It is.
It's my favorite.
It is
one.
absolutely fantastic. Super Mario World's also my first SNES playthrough game. We didn't actually buy a lot of Super Nintendo games. We had Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 on Super Nintendo, but truthfully, we didn't really play a whole lot. We didn't own a lot of Super Nintendo games. We rented them. We would rent them from the store often, right? But to be perfectly honest with you, we didn't really own a whole lot. And I mean, and that's now into an era where games are $60, right? Yeah. My parents aren't buying us video games for pretty much any reason. My older brother was the one who owned the Super Nintendo. It was his. And so he would buy himself those games.
Right.
And then we would play them. We'd get to play them if he let us. But we were too young to be buying our own games.
Right.
So we kind of just rolled with it. We didn't really have a whole lot. No RPGs, none of the... Like, Super Nintendo had a great library.
Yeah.
Awesome games. Not a whole lot. Didn't really... Like, even A Link to the Past, we didn't even own Link to the Past, for example, right? Like,
yeah. I didn't own a Super Nintendo until my wife moved in with me, because they had the Ready Mart, right? The rental. They used to rent. We were
renting the games from them.
Yeah, you were renting the games probably from them. So I got most of the games from them when they stopped doing like the console rentals, and then I got like the Super NES, Nintendo 64, because I never had those consoles until then.
Right.
So I do have quite a few Super NES games now. Some of them are like really weird, like Kirby's Dream Course. It's like a golf game.
Yeah, that one. I don't like that one. Well, that's like the 6-in-1 or something like that, right?
No, that one is just Kirby. It's just Kirby's Dream Course. Yeah. You're thinking of Kirby Superstar, I think.
Superstars. That one was really good too, that's what I was thinking of. That one. Yeah.
But yeah, that was. Other than that, the only time I'd play Super Nintendo was at my auntie's house, or my neighbor across the back alley had one, and that's where I would play Link's Awakening. A Link to the Past. That's where I'd play that all the time. And I'd play it on their save. So, because otherwise I would just have to play that intro part over and over again, where your uncle's in the dungeon waiting for you and all that. And I loved that game. That was a really good game. And then,
great games on the Super Nintendo.
And then my auntie, I guess it was my cousin. I don't know if she would borrow it from a friend or something, but she had, I think it was Final Fantasy VI. And I remember playing it a couple times, but it was a big JRPG, and it was like she was borrowing it from a friend, and I would only play it when I was there. So I maybe put like 2 hours into the game total at that time. So, and then once I got a Super NES, I got what the hell, Final Fantasy IV as well.
Oh yeah. I still that one's on my list of bucket list of games to play. So good. The when I bought my after now I'm an old fart. Yeah. And I bought my own Super Nintendo. That one I bought with F-Zero, and that was a fantastic pick.
I love F-Zero.
I love F-Zero. Such a good game. F-Zero, Super Bowling, and Super Punch Out were the three.
You're a big Super Punch Out guy.
I do. I love Super Punch Out, but I'm not like I can get through the first 3 parts with no problem, and then I get stuck in the special circuit every single time. I can't beat it. But by that point, I'm like, I played enough of this. I can shut up.
So this is I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but for our charity stream, I really want you to do either Punch Out or Super Punch Out or both.
I'll probably throw both of them in there. Yeah. I was thinking for the charity stream, what I'll likely be doing is just opening up the game kit, and we'll just jump through games as we go. Yeah, because I've got her loaded up, and we're ready to rock and roll with that. Yeah, so... Yeah,
I just want to watch you play Super Punch Out.
Great. Yeah, absolutely.
So do that either
it'll happen
at the end.
That'll happen
or at the beginning.
When you come back.
Okay.
When you come in and you're like, hey, I'm here, we'll fire it up. Okay. Because I'm also going to do Undertale, and I kind of want you to be there too.
Game is disgusting.
But I don't want to let too many of the cats out of the bag. We have plans. Yes. Stuff's going to go for the charity stream. It's going to be fantastic.
Yes.
So after the Super Nintendo, you've got the Sega CD here.
Right.
I didn't own a Sega CD at all.
Did you
first time that I ever played a Sega CD, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Was when we played Virtua Cop at your house last month.
Oh, Virtua Cop, not even a Sega CD game.
Or what was it we played on Sega? What did we play on CD?
We probably played Lethal Enforcers.
Lethal Enforcers. Yeah. That's what I meant to write. That's what I meant to write down here. That when we played that was the first time I ever played anything on the Sega CD.
Oh.
I had never played a Sega CD before that. Ever. Like we didn't own one.
I mean,
I
to
didn't
be
know
fair,
anybody
there's
who had
not
one.
a lot of good games on the Sega CD.
Like nobody I knew had a Sega CD at the time, and I was like, okay. So literally, Lethal Enforcers would have been the very first time I ever played on the Sega CD.
Yeah, Sega CD's good, man. First game I played was actually Snatcher, because I wanted to play Snatcher because I'm like a huge Hideo Kojima fan, big Metal Gear guy. And I was like, fuck,
and you got to use the Justifier.
Yes, and that's like one of my favorite light guns, the Justifier.
Because that's the only way you can get the blue one, isn't it?
No, you could get the blue one on its own or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But
I thought for some reason that was packed in with it.
It might have been packed in with it as well. That might have been a way to get it. But when I bought my Sega CD, I wanted to play Snatcher, and I was like, I don't have a Sega CD, and I don't have Snatcher. And I found on eBay at the time Sega CD with Snatcher. So boom. I was like, fuck yeah, dude. So I bought that. It was like $175, which was the most. I was going to
say, you got it for a steal of the deal, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was the most I had ever paid for a game before. Like a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, consoles are more than that, but that was the most I had ever paid at that time, and it was totally worth it. But, yeah. Snatcher was definitely... Oh, well, here, I have it.
Because, I mean, turnaround on that right now is what?
It's like over $1,000 for this game now.
Like, absolutely. It's ridiculous.
And it's like one of the best games ever. It's super fucking good. I'll have to stream it sometime. The other thing is... remember Police Knots when I streamed that?
Yep, I do.
That was the Sega CD version I streamed. But now that I have my Saturn hacked, I actually have Police Knots translated on the Saturn, which would have been way better to play because A, the graphics
then you would have been able to use the light gun,
and B, I'd have been able to use the light gun for those light guns.
Because that was the one thing was you had to run that cursor, and it was so frustrating.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, that's fantastic. I mean, the that game is just phenomenal from what I've seen of it. I haven't ever actually played it, but I did watch you play through them, and the storyline that Kojima has the ability to create in there, like, and this kind of like the cyberpunk
amazing,
world,
dude.
Kind of the detective, the noir kind of style.
Yep.
I really, really dig that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was so good. I think next year maybe I'll do a back-to-back. I'll do Snatcher and then Police Knots.
That's a good idea.
Because I've never streamed Snatcher, and then when I do Police Knots again, I'll do the Saturn version maybe.
For sure. That's a good idea.
And then the next one, let's see, what do we got here? The Sega 32X. Have you played a Sega 32X game?
Never.
Okay.
Never played a single 32X game. The only 32X game I even know exists is Doom.
Doom 32X, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, again, same as the Sega CD. Nobody I knew had a 32X. I never even knew it existed until later on. When you start learning about when the internet comes around, you'll start learning about gaming consoles.
Yeah, stuff
I didn't even know it existed.
Or heard of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of weird. I actually played the 32X long before I played the Saturn. My cousin Sean had a 32X, and he had Star Wars Arcade, which was like
nice,
the best game ever. Because keep in mind, we didn't really have like 3D graphics at all back then.
Right. And we're talking. What are we talking at this point? 1995.
Yeah, like maybe even earlier. I wonder if this says
94-ish.
It doesn't say, but it would have been. It was before the PS1. Like the PS1 was announced, but it wasn't released yet. The Saturn was. I don't even know if the Saturn was announced yet. And this game had full, like, you had, like, the Star Destroyers in full 3D and your X-Wing and the TIE Fighters. That shit blew my mind. And I remember just being like, I need a Sega 32X. So I don't know if this came with it. Because you know when a game would come with, it would have that not for resale sticker on it?
Yeah, that would be pack-ins.
So I think this might have been a pack-in. And so yeah, when I got my 32X, I also got that game, and I don't know if it came with it, but I'm assuming it did, and it blew my mind. So much fun.
Finney's confirming 32X was 1994.
Was it? Okay.
So I mean, for 1994, that's pretty impressive.
It was really good. It was really impressive.
Absolutely.
I'd never seen graphics like that before on a console game.
Yeah, never touched a 32X before. I mean, it's cool. The smallest gaming library of all the consoles that are on this list.
Yeah, on this list, definitely. I think
For
it's
sure.
got the smallest list other than the Virtual Boy. I think the Virtual Boy only had
The
like
Virtual
12
Boy,
games.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Yeah,
if we
that
count
was-
that as a console. I'm counting it as a
Well,
handheld. I didn't put it on
yeah,
the list, but...
I didn't put it on the list either, and it's funny because while I have never played a Sega CD or a 32X, I have played a Virtual
Yeah,
Boy.
same. My cousin had one of those.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd count it. It's kind of in between.
Yeah.
It's kind of not.
Yeah, we'll
kinda
save
is
that
and
one
isn't.
for when we do handhelds.
For sure. That brings us to PS1. Here we are at the PS1. Again, I never owned the PS1. My older brother owned the PS1, but now I'm old enough. At this point in time, is on the timeline. I'm old enough to actually play and know about games and want to grab them. And this was the console that we bought the most games for. Of all the consoles when we were young, this was the system that we bought the most for, and especially because this was also the dawn of the bargain bin games.
Yep.
Too. You would go into like a Walmart or whatever, and there would be just a bin of just cheapo games that you'd never heard of before, but they were fun. They were great games. The very first game I ever played on the PS1 was Mortal Kombat 3.
Oh,
And that
really?
was the game that was the game my older brother bought with the system, and we bought it at Costco, of all places.
That's weird.
And he was this close to buying a 3DO. It was the 3DO or the PS1. And the 3DO, I think, was $100 more, but he wanted Road Rash.
Road Rash was the
right?
best on the 3DO. That's
so
the best version of Road Rash.
That's right. So he wanted the 3DO for Road Rash, but he was like, I've been reading a little bit about this PS1 that's coming, Sony system, and I don't really know which one to go with.
Jason
And
was
the
always
parents
that
were
guy
like,
that would do the extensive research,
analytical.
too. Yeah.
He had like graphs of it.
Yeah.
But he was like he's talking with my parents about it, and they were like, well, look, here's the thing. This 3DO thing is like $600.
Yeah.
Don't buy it.
Yeah,
It's
so
too expensive. Like, forget that. If you get this, you can get not only you can get the PS1, but you can get this PS1 and a game for cheaper than just the 3DO, the system itself. And so he ended up going that way, which was a brilliant move because the 3DO
really
had
quick.
Road Rash.
That was it.
That's it.
Yeah. And you could play the same Road Rash on PS1. Like, they had that version, but it wasn't as good of a
It wasn't
port,
as good. No,
right?
it wasn't. 3DO was still the best for that. But I mean, honestly, the PS1 was the way to go. So he picked up Mortal Kombat 3. That was the very first game we ever played. The second game was Warhawk. And I don't know if you ever played original Warhawk or not. And he got that copy. It's funny we're talking about Jason's PS1 because that's what it was. It wasn't my PS1. We just kind of played the games because he let us. But he got that copy of Warhawk because there was this video game TV show called Game Nation back in the day.
Oh yeah,
It was a Canadian video game TV show that aired on Saturday mornings, and there was a section in there where you would record yourself, like give them a video. And if they put it on their show, they would give you a free game of any game you wanted, a couple pieces of merch, and then they would actually put you on the show. Well, so we had gerbils, right?
Yeah.
And so he took his gerbil and he's holding it in front of the camera like this, giving a review of something. I don't remember what game it was, but he was giving a game review as the gerbil, and they put it on the air and they gave him a free copy of the game. That was the game he picked.
Oh, that's so awesome!
Yeah.
I did not know that story.
So cool, like just. And so, and I wish, man, I emailed, it was through CTV. It was like
to
now
try
City
and get
TV.
the
I wanted
footage.
so bad to get it because they were supposed to mail him a tape and they never did.
Oh,
They're supposed to mail him a tape of the
damn.
show so we could have it. And we're talking like 1995, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, but this is long before friggin' internet's normal in your house.
Yeah.
No YouTube, no, like you do this as an everyday thing now. With you pull your stupid cell phone out and you do it, right?
Back then, America's funniest home videos was YouTube.
Yes, that's basically
right?
what this was. He took my dad's camcorder, he set it up on the tripod, he recorded it, edited it on the damn camcorder because you're not plugging it into plugging it into a computer to chop it and edit it up, right?
Yeah.
So he's editing it by fast forwarding and rewinding and re-recording it over and over until you have the thing.
Yeah.
Man, so good. Yeah, he absolutely he absolutely nailed it. So yeah. I wish I could get my hands on a copy of that tape. I absolutely would, but I reached out. Nobody ever gets back to you because it just doesn't exist anymore. That's 30 years ago.
They would have even kept. You know,
0%. There's just no chance.
I know you can, because there's that other Canadian gaming show, TV show, and you can find a lot of the episodes on YouTube. So if you ever have a fuckload of time on your hands, you could just try to find every episode and skim through it.
What was that one called? Do you remember?
I don't remember either. But
I don't remember
that one.
It was along the same lines though.
It always played the. It's like the opening part of the Crash Man stage, and it's like that. Dun, 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 dun. And it would just do that over and over again, and that's actually the inspiration for why the Relax Retro Talk theme song is Crashman's theme, because I would always watch that show,
and it's such a great theme.
It is
so good.
But speaking of Jason, guys, we are doing a a charity stream on October 16th, 24 hours starting at, I think, 10 a.m.
We're gonna do 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. Saturday the 16th to Sunday the 17th.
And we're going to be doing it in roughly like four blocks of 6 hours, right? So
yeah, it's not going to be exact. It's going to be kind of what it is. But if you come to either one of our channels, you'll be watching the show, because if one channel's down, it'll be hosting the other channel. And
absolutely. And we're raising money for, what is it, Crohn's and Colitis Canada?
Crohn's and Colitis Canada. All donations received for that stream, and Duke, maybe you can post the links into the description of the video there, but bit.ly/specfest, and that'll give you the story of what's going on, why we're doing this, as well as it's an area for donations as well. Anything $15 or more, you get an automatic tax receipt. So, which is just bonus. It's just awesome, and I mean it's to help find a cure for IBDs, and it's just it's fantastic. We've been working with some of the members of their foundation, and it's been really good. They've been fantastic.
Yeah, they've been great.
Yeah, absolutely. So. What was your first PS1 game?
My first PS1 game, I want to think, I don't know what the first one I played was, but I do know the first one I owned. The first one I played might have been Star Wars Dark Forces at my uncle's house. It was like a first-person shooter, kind of like a Wolfenstein Doom kind of thing. It's like that 3D, but not really 3D, kind of, like all the characters are clearly flat, but they're moving, they look 3D. And I do own that now, but the first one I actually got was Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. And
wow.
And I remember
later in the catalog.
Yes, I didn't get the... That's the other thing. You said the era of the bargain bin, right? The discount bins.
Yep.
When that era hit, I was still playing the Genesis, so I would get like NBA Live 96 in the bargain bin. I'd get NBA Jam,
games.
Boogerman, like stuff like that. I would get in the bargain bin on the Genesis, and then when I finally was like, I want a PlayStation, and what happened was, and I don't remember if it was my stepdad or if it was my cousins, got me Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. And I think it was my cousins, because we always go to my grandma's on my dad's side for Christmas Eve, and then we do my grandma's on my mom's side for Christmas Day. And it was Christmas Eve, and I open up my present from my cousins and like auntie and all that, and it's Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. And the first thing I do is instantly cry, because I did not have a PlayStation. And I asked my parents over and over again, and I was like, can I get a PlayStation for Christmas? And they're like, no, it's too expensive, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I get Spyro.
We're talking like $400.
Yeah.
For the
well,
PS1.
I don't think it was $400. I think I got
maybe
it.
Maybe by that point they got it like $299.
Right? Like I don't know what year Spyro 2 came out, but I know 1999 was when Spyro 2 came out. So that's when I got my fucking PlayStation, which was quite a ways
pretty close to the PS2.
Yeah, that's how it worked in my family, right? We would always get it usually when the price dropped big time, right?
Right. Yeah, you're like $199, $299-ish at this point.
Yeah, but I got Ripto's Rage. I started crying because I didn't have a PlayStation, and I was like, I don't even want this. This is like a slap in the face for my however old I was, right? I would have been like 14 maybe or something. And
right.
Anyways, I get home. The night was a disaster. I wake up the next morning, Christmas morning, open I have a picture, and I'm going to post this on Christmas in the Discord. The picture of me opening up my PS1, and I was like, oh my god, this is the greatest.
You were the Nintendo 64 boy.
Yes, and then I was
Nintendo 64, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was me, but with my PS1, and I played Ripto's Rage. This was the only game I owned for like quite a while too.
Really?
Yeah, because I played the shit out of it. And I remember I unlocked everything in it. Like that's back when like the PS1 games were like everything was a collectible. You had to collect everything, and I had absolutely everything in this game. And then you open like.
But you know what?
Yeah, go ahead.
The thing I was just gonna say, the thing is about games back then too, because you were not getting a lot of them. When you got a game, that was the game you played for a long time. So you played that literally from beginning to end and got everything in between.
100% completion,
right?
Usually.
You're not jumping from game to game to game to game. You're getting, this is the one game you get maybe for the next 6 months.
Yep.
Right? So,
Birthday
you would
Christmas,
literally
that's
do
pretty
that.
much the only
That's
time
right.
you're
100%. 100%. So good. Yeah, I never, so I still haven't really played the Spyro games.
They're
I know
pretty good.
that
You
they're
should
good,
get
and
the,
I know they did a remaster.
Yeah, get those. That's the best way to do it.
But it was just I by that point in time I had kind of moved on from gaming for a little bit, and before I came back into it again. Twisted Metal 2 was the other game that we played.
Oh, I played that one at Paul's all the time. I didn't actually.
And that
own
one
that
was
one.
a lot of fun too. Completely unplayable now. If you go back to it
they
now,
are.
It's completely unplayable.
You push like up to drive forward. They're really bad.
I don't even know. I don't even know how we. I don't know how we did it. We played the crap. We beat
same.
We beat Twisted Metal 2
because
with
you want to get all the endings
character.
too. Because all the characters have like a different ending and stuff.
They all have a different ending, and you unlocked different characters.
Yep,
too.
as you kept playing through.
And I don't know, man. I tried to go back and play it again.
Yeah, same.
The one last thing before we move on from the PS1, I was going to say when we were talking about bargain bin.
Yeah.
There was a game that we found for $15. It was called Shipwrecked.
You showed me that game, and it looks good.
And I did show you this game. It was a lot of fun. It was basically Mario Kart, but you were pirate ships, and you would drive around, and it would be a race, and then you'd be shooting cannonballs at each other, and they'd be different power ups and stuff. Yeah, it was a ton of fun. I love that game.
Looks fun. But yeah, it was after that, once I got my PS1, because I was in a JRPG drought. Like, I played Dragon Warrior and Dragon Warrior 4 on the NES, and then I never played an RPG again, because Genesis wasn't really known for JRPGs
Yeah,
and
there's not a whole lot of RPGs on the Genesis.
And then,
there were some.
Yeah, there were some, yeah. And then, my one buddy at school was always talking about Final Fantasy VII, right? He's like, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII. And then Final Fantasy VIII came out the year after that. So he was like, Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy VIII. So I did get Final Fantasy VIII, I think, for my birthday that year. And then for Christmas that next year, I got Final Fantasy IX. And that was like Final Fantasy IX like, blew my mind.
So good.
But next, what did I get next? Was it the 64?
N64.
Yeah, so N64, first game I played was probably Mario 64. I don't really know. But the first game I owned was Conker's Bad Fur Day. As soon as my wife moved in with me and I had an N64, I was like, hey, I got to get Conker's Bad Fur Day. Because I played it at my neighbor across the back alley. They always had, like, the more adult games. Like, that's where I played Road Rash for the PS1 as well, was at their place.
Yep.
And then, like, Destruction Derby on PS1.
Right, yep.
And then, yeah, they had Conker's Bad Fur Day, and I absolutely fucking loved it. And still today, it's probably my favorite N64 game. And I had to get it. That was, like, a must-own.
We owned an N64, but we had so few games of the N64. We did not have a lot of games for Nintendo 64. The very first game that I ever played, and the very first game we ever owned for the N64 was Diddy Kong's Racing.
Oh, that's a good one.
Which is funny, because if yours is Conker Bad Fur Day, mine had Conker in it, but he was the sweet little
before
chipmunk.
he was an asshole. Yeah, I have that. I actually had that game.
It was
too.
a lot of fun game. That game was a ton of fun for what it was. We played a ton of Diddy Kong Racing. There was Diddy Kong Racing, Mario Party 2. We had some wrestling games, Mario Golf, Mario Tennis.
Right, everybody had Mario Golf
and Mario Kart,
Mario Tennis.
But Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, and Mario Kart. Those are the other ones we got. I never did, and still haven't played Mario 64. I still have not played it ever.
People will tell you it's really good.
Up,
I don't.
100%.
Like it.
I picked up the 3D All Stars game. I do intend on one day playing it.
I want to watch you play through.
You should,
Sunshine.
because
that game brings even
bad.
the biggest Mario fans pissed to a boil. Like, it's so frustrating, the controls, but it is pretty fun to play. It's just frustrating.
I'm bad enough at Mario games as it is, let alone when you put me in a 3D environment. Yep. So the chance of me actually completing any of those games is basically zero. But
yeah, it'll be fun.
I am going to do it. Yeah. I am going to do it. Yep. Oh. Yeah, you betcha. After the 64, we've got the Saturn.
Yeah. So
the
was
Saturn
Virtua Cop your first one at my house? Then?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
I put it. So I was like, well, that would have been one of the few times that because I never played. I never owned a Saturn again. Same thing with the Saturn. Never really knew anybody did. Do you know the first game on the Saturn that I played? Bug.
Oh, really?
You and me played Bug.
Oh, God.
Like 8 years ago. You were like, hey, I got this game. Let's do a review of it. Yeah. I was like, okay.
Bug
It was terrible. Bug juice. That was it, man. That was. I played Bug and I played Virtua Cop.
I might have to whip out Bug for my second block
kick it up
of the 24-hour stream.
I mean, it wasn't bad for what it is. It's a basic 3D platformer, and I think that's the problem. 3D platformers in this era, in this kind of time frame that we're in right now, PS1, N64, and Saturn, they're brutal.
They're not
because the rendering distance is bad, so they're foggy, typically, right? They're blocky. The textures are going to be brutal. There's not a whole lot of because I get lost so easily in these games, and it's like I'm constantly checking a map if there even is a map.
Yeah.
It's like I just don't know where to go, and I get frustrated. I'm like, forget it.
Bug is literally like you're just walking on plankways that connect to each other. It's like even more of a basic 3D platformer than Crash Bandicoot was. And Crash Bandicoot was almost like
never played Crash Bandicoot either.
Crash Bandicoot's like a fake 3D platformer. Like it's basically 2D with the illusion that it's 3D. And that's kind of how Bug was as well. I actually have Bug 2 now as well. I've never played it, but I do have it. Yeah, you were saying
you had the sequel.
Yeah, I never played it, but I do have it. So maybe I'll bust those out for the second block of or the third block, I guess, of the stream.
Bust out Bug. Yeah, that would have been my first one. Because I never owned a Saturn. The Saturn was one that I was just, and again, it's in a time frame where I don't have any money. So I'm not buying anything, and we already had a PS1 and an N64.
Yeah, no doubt. What are the chances you get all three back then?
Right?
So for me, the Saturn, the first game I actually played, and I thought we were going to say the same thing here, but because it was mostly your friend, not really mine. Tim had a Saturn, and they had Duke Nukem 3D, and that was the first Saturn game I actually played. And I remember because his mom. Wasn't his mom had she worked for either the Catholic school or the church or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And I just remember we'd be like, okay, shh, close the door. All right, Aaron, you're on lookout if mom comes. And it was like you'd go in there and you'd be like, shake it, baby. And our 13-year-old minds were like, holy shit, it's tits. And it was like we would just do that and pee when he pees, and then he's like, oh yeah, much better. It was just we would just play that over and over again. But the first Saturn game I actually owned was Virtua Cop. I bought the Saturn for Virtua Cop, and it came with the gun cons and stuff, or whatever, the stunners, I think they're called on the Saturn. And I played the shit out of Virtua Cop, and I think I still might like the first Virtua Cop over the second, but that's probably just nostalgia speaking.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I enjoyed that game.
Cop games.
Yep, but no.
Next up is the PS2. First game I played on it. That's a tough one. I don't know. It might have been Summoner. Paul had some like really bad game called Summoner that he really liked.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so he was always playing Summoner. It was really weird. But my first game that I owned was Final Fantasy X on it. And that was just from playing it at Paul's house over and over again. And then when I finally got my PS2, I was like, I got to get Final Fantasy X because that game looks amazing.
Such a great game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've got to start with my PS2. We didn't own a PS2 in my house.
Oh, okay.
Right? My older brother had moved away at this point for college, right? And I'm still kind of broke, but I bought a Xbox instead of a PS2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I didn't get in on the PS2 side of the house.
Oh, I know your story. I was there.
So what happened was somebody in my high school was like, "Hey, I've got a PS2. I'll sell it to you for $40." And this was a steal of a deal because the PS2s are like $300.
Yeah, this person might have been a crackhead.
Apparently this person took my money and bought drugs with it. But that's okay. They brought me the PS2. It didn't have any cables, so it probably was likely stolen.
Yeah.
It didn't have AV. It didn't have power. But I had a PS1 at this point in time. I had my PS1. So I plug in my PS1, my PS2, and I plug in my cables. And I bought the PS2 for Final Fantasy X.
Okay.
That was the whole reason why I even wanted it. And so I was like, okay, great. So we fired up, and I was like, I don't even know if this thing works because we don't have any cables. We fired up. There's a soccer game inside the damn PS2.
I was with you when you bought that. I remember, Kate. I remember this person. I don't want to name names because this person had a very tragic end, actually. But
it's definitely
not. But this vehicle pulls up. Me and you were like walking or something, right?
That's right.
We were walking.
We were by my house.
This vehicle pulls up beside us. A window gets rolled down, and they're like, "Hey, any of you guys want a PS2 for like $30 or $40?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Fuck, I got $40. You had like two 20s on you.
I'll buy it right now.
And then they just hand the PS2 with like, I think did it come with one or two controllers?
One controller.
And yeah, there was no cables. It just came with a controller. And no game as far as we knew.
Nothing.
And then you hooked it up, and there was like it was like FIFA like fucking 99 or something.
Some random soccer game. Yep, absolutely. Fuck. It was ridiculous. I can't.
I completely forgot about that until you just brought it up.
Still have that PS2. It's working like a champ.
Fuck. That's awesome.
Yeah, go continue. So that was technically the first game I ever played on the PS2. Got rid of that thing right away. That game sucked. It was not a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was what it was. So the first game that I actually bought wasn't Final Fantasy X, even though that was the reason why I even got the PS2 to begin with. It was actually NFL Street.
Oh,
do you remember that game?
I never played that one, but I remember playing NBA Street at Tyler's house.
Yep.
With you and Tyler.
I'm not a sports game guy, right?
Yeah.
That's not my thing. I don't typically do sports games, but that game was a ton of fun because it wasn't like super hard on the rules. Like it still had the football rules in it, but it was basically like you're playing on a beach, you're playing in a backyard.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right? Like it was just kind of, it was really arcadey is what it was, right? And so I would have friends over and we would play this stupid game, 2-player, and then when we had more than 2 players, you can pick a play and then have the teams run it. So we would switch the controllers off, and we would pick plays, and we would pit the teams against each other by just running the plays. It was just a lot of fun. I don't know. So that was technically the first game that I bought, because I think I got it for like $15 out of a bargain bin. And then I finally got Final Fantasy X, and that is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember me and you, and I think some other guys, we would go to Tyler's and play... NBA Street, and I think the whole reason those games came along was because Midway had the lockdown on like NBA Jam, NFL Blitz,
arcadey games.
Yeah, but then Midway kind of just disappeared after like the early PS1 days, and so I don't know if it was EA or someone started making these street games, and they were kind of like filled that void, and they were really good.
Yeah, it was back when EA wasn't terrible.
Yep. Yep.
Right? EA at one point in time released these games. They did these Street games and they did the Burnout games.
Right. That was EA.
And they were awesome.
Yep.
And their soundtracks were awesome.
Yeah.
Everything about it was just fantastic. And then they just kind of went,
yeah.
And they kind of sold out entirely. But at that point in time, that was the thing. Yeah, that's that PS2. I feel bad because that's likely what ended up happening. But I was 15, I think, 14, 15.
Yeah.
And I just got a PS2
yet.
for $40.
Yeah.
I wasn't driving. I mean, I just got it for $40. I was like, yeah, I'll take that for $40.
Yeah.
You bet.
That was
Thanks.
awesome. I just remember what my first PS2 game was. It was Kessen, which was like a weird,
that's a
like,
good one.
Dynasty Warriors-y like battle simulator.
I remember that one.
My cousin had it. He got a PS2. My cousin was loaded. He got everything like at launch. Like this is the same cousin that I played the 32X at. I played like, everything at. I always played at his place first. And yeah, I remember it was Christmas and he brought it to my grandma's house to show off like the games, and that was the only game he had was Kessen. I didn't really like it at all, but I remember the graphics just absolutely blowing my mind. And
was that the prequel to Dynasty Warriors?
No, well, maybe it might have been made by the same company. Yeah,
I thought I remember you playing that one, but maybe not.
But yeah, I just remember it looking incredible and having all those soldiers on screen like fighting each other in real time. I thought that was super cool.
Right.
But yeah, it wasn't until Final Fantasy X. Hold on, I actually have Final Fantasy X there.
Boom, there it is. The greatest
hits version. Because like I said, I always got everything fucking... I probably got this when the fucking PS3 came out. Oh yeah, I didn't show Virtua Cop either. I got
there it is.
Virtua Cop. I think it came with... Yeah, it came with the one stunner, I believe.
Yep.
And then...
So good.
What's next?
Well, I snuck Xbox in here because it wasn't
Okay,
on the
yeah,
list.
we'll do Xbox now then. Yeah.
So I bought a launch Xbox.
Right.
Like I was one of those guys who spent this was it, right? Like at this point in time, I have a part-time job, but I don't pay any bills or anything, so my part-time job's just giving me money.
Yeah.
I bought that Xbox and I bought Halo Combat Evolved.
Oh, okay. So you got that
was
right when it came out.
Oh, good. So good. Nobody else in our hometown had an Xbox, right? Like, everybody was going PS2, right? Or the few people were going, GameCube, Saturn, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But man, that Xbox, dude, woo, that was a lot of fun. We played Halo, and then after word got out that the Xbox existed and that Halo's a lot of fun. Jason had made me this super extra long crossover cable. It's the way that you would play multiplayer big games of Halo because you weren't playing on the internet.
Yeah,
right? That didn't exist.
You could do like
you
LAN
would
party
do
type
system
things.
links.
Yeah,
you would do a system link, and so to link two Xboxes together, you needed to buy their system link cable, which was like $60 or something stupid like that. But all it was just a crossover cable, right?
Yeah.
And so he's going to school for computer technology.
Oh, he just made one?
And he's like, here, how long do you want it? And I was like, well,
way.
long enough to go through the basement. So he literally made us a 75-foot cable. And we ran that stupid thing across the basement. We would do the Halo parties we would do, man. It was in Jesse's house.
Yeah, I've been to one or two of those.
And so we were in the basement. We had couches on either side. I would bring my TV over.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would haul in a TV. We'd bring in the Xbox. We'd run this cable. It would be 8 people in there.
Yep.
And we would put like a mattress behind the couch so people weren't peeking screens.
Yeah,
I was always while you're playing because it was so good, just so much fun. I had so much fun with that system. I didn't play a whole lot of Xbox. Project Gotham Racing 3 was the other one that I did, and that was when Xbox Live was just beginning, just coming out. What was it? Not Project Gotham Racing, but it was
it Forza or did that exist?
Midtown Madness or something like that.
Oh, those are those racing, the street racing ones, right?
Yeah, it was
Midnight
an
Club?
online.
No, not Midnight Club.
No, not Midnight Club. I think it was Midtown Madness. I think is what it was called. There's Midtown Madness and something Frenzy, and the Frenzy game was
Frenzy.
like a Fusion Frenzy, and that was like a Mario Party kind of game. Yeah, and those were like the first few games for Xbox Live. My first Xbox Live name was Strong Bad Man.
Oh, was it?
That's just what it was.
Strong Bad Man? Because Strong Bad was
so
shit
bad
back then.
Strong Bad was fantastic back then, but then I changed it to Infinity 86 at that point.
Yeah,
and then,
with like 17 ones in it.
Yeah, that's right.
It was like always so hard to add you on everything.
Did you have something for Xbox?
Okay, so the first Xbox game I played, and I own this game now, just because I do intend to get an Xbox 360 at some point, because there's a bunch of JRPGs I want to play. But
yes.
Jet Set Radio Future, I played it at
such a good
I
game.
played it at Finney's house all the time. That was
such a good
and
game.
It comes with Saga GT 2005,
Boom.
which I don't, or 2002, which I don't think I've ever actually played. But I've played the shit out of this.
Jet Set Radio Future was a really good game.
Yeah.
Also,
has playing that.
has a song in there called Aisle 10.
Okay.
Something like that. It's like, hello, Allison, I want to hold your hand.
Oh, I don't even remember. I don't remember.
Oh, man. It was this one-hit wonder, but it was like, there's only like 10 tracks on the game there. And you would hear it would loop around every single time. It's ridiculous.
Tracks, so
it was ridiculous.
Remember Gran Turismo 2 had like a whole bunch of like...
Yes.
Remember that band Garbage? It was like half the soundtrack was garbage, and it was all really good.
It was really good. Gran Turismo 2 is a great game.
That was super good, yeah.
Such a good game.
But yeah, we would stay up all night playing this. There was like a weird like...
That was a fun one.
Mode with like a ball? I don't remember much. Like I only played it at Finney's, and it was only like a couple nights and stuff, but that's...
You're not thinking of like Katamari Damacy, are you?
No. It was Jet Set Radio Future, and there was a mode where you had, I don't know if it was like ball tag, where you'd like, it was a co-op or multiplayer mode.
I remember. It was like the predecessor to Splatoon. You would be running paint behind you.
Is
right?
that? Maybe, I don't know.
In this ball? I think so.
I think know.
So. I might be wrong. That's a long time ago.
But you carried the ball, and you'd have to like throw it at the...
Oh, I'm thinking of something different.
Oh, okay. I know what you're thinking of,
Still,
but
though,
I can't remember what that is. Where
I can't remember either.
Spaces, and whoever has the most of that color space. What the fuck game was that? Was that maybe this too?
I don't know.
Because I think you could,
it may have been in that. May have been a mode
it would
in
change
that.
the billboard to your
It would
tag.
change it. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, man.
It may have been in that. That's how Splatoon works, by the way. But
that was a good fucking
so
game.
Good. That's good. I forgot about Jet Set Radio Future. I had that game as well, and that one was a ton of fun.
But I remember going to the you taking me to one, because that was kind of right around that time. I think we really started hanging out. Right? Was when that came out, and we went to. I remember you brought me to one of Jesse's LAN parties, and it was Halo, and I still to this day don't really like Halo because I'm so fucking bad at it. But I remember people getting so mad at me because I would screen look all the time, always.
Just screen looking.
I'd peek around, because like you said, there'd be like a mattress in between the two.
Well,
couches,
that's a thing.
But I'd be like this, like peeking around the mattress, and then I'd be like, "Oh, that guy's hiding
peeking again."
Yeah. Stop screen looking, screen looker.
Yeah, that was the thing. Because you would set up your little sniper nest over here, and you put your decoy out there, and we had plans, we had strategies and stuff that we'd be running.
And
we're playing
poor
this stupid
son
game.
of a bitch would be stuck with me on their team. And you might have only invited me because you guys needed an 8th guy, for all I know. Like,
no, probably not. No. The thing was that we always wanted more people, but the thing was that it was just fun. That's just what we wanted to do. You know, like when we go, we play games and stuff now. It's like that's just what we wanted to do. We just wanted to hang out.
And it was so cool because like I think his parents would like make popcorn and shit for us. Like,
it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
His sister made a taco salad for us once. It was fantastic.
Oh, I was not there.
Yeah, she just brought this giant bowl. Comes down this giant bowl of taco salad. She's like, "Hey, I made this. Here you go."
Yeah, Jesse's sister's awesome.
So good.
Next I had
from the Xbox, I got GameCube.
Yeah, GameCube. Yeah. So the first GameCube game, the first GameCube I probably played was Super Smash Bros. Melee at Finney's house. Because Tom owned, I think it was just Tom owned the GameCube, because a lot of the other consoles they would have to share. Like I think the Xbox they always had to share. PS2, I don't know if Finney had a PS2. PS1, I think it was Finney's or something. But we would play Super Smash Bros. Melee. But the first game I actually owned, and I got this with my GameCube, is Super Monkey Ball.
Monkey Ball.
I got it.
That's a fun game.
It is fun. I got it at a garage sale. I got Super Monkey Ball, 2 GameCube controllers, the GameCube, and I think I got I don't know. I think I got one other game, but I don't remember what it was. But yeah, Super Monkey Ball was the first one I got, and the first one I played on the GameCube that I had got.
For sure. Yeah, Super Monkey Ball is a lot of fun. GameCube's one of those systems I never owned and never really wanted to own. Like, it never appealed. The GameCube never appealed to me. There wasn't any games that I was interested in playing, and everyone's like, "Oh, you got to get it for Zelda. Oh, you got to get it for Mario Sunshine."
Like
none of these games ever appealed to me.
Really good games.
Ever, yeah. And so my older brother had picked up a GameCube because he's now graduated from college and he's just buying game stuff because he's got money, and so he picked it up. The first game that I ever played on the GameCube was Super Mario Strikers. Did you ever play that one?
I never played it, but I remember
it's
when
the
it came
soccer
out.
one. It was so much fun.
Oh, was it?
It was a ridiculously fun game. Think like, like it's the same kind of thing as all the other Mario sports games, right? In golf, where it's like, Bowser has a super power shot and Mario's got this and Luigi's got that. And so in Strikers, each one of the characters had their own special abilities, and they would run a team of what they are.
Oh, okay.
So if you're running like Koopa Troopa had whatever it was his abilities was, but his entire team was made up of Koopa Troopas.
Oh.
Mario's entire team was made up of like Toads, right?
Oh,
like,
weird.
Or
okay.
like,
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
it was like whatever. It was something along those lines, right? And that was just a lot of fun. I remember playing that game. We did that one, and then we did the Mario Party with the microphone. I don't know what number it is, but one
weird.
of them had a microphone.
I don't think I ever played that one.
Yeah, and it was a thing. You had to use the microphone for some of the games, and I don't know. We never played Double Dash. We never played. I don't know any of those other ones. Those kind of prime GameCube games.
Yeah.
Crinkle says the best GameCube game is Power Stone. I've never heard of Power Stone.
Dreamcast
I don't
game.
know what that is. There it is.
I don't even. They re-released it on the GameCube.
It may have been re-released on the GameCube, but I have no idea. No clue. GameCube was one of those systems that I was invested on the Xbox, and then I got that PS2. The last thing I was going to do was anything else with a GameCube or anything like that.
Yeah, I remember playing a lot of Beautiful Joe at your guys' place,
Oh,
but I don't know if
yeah,
that was
that's a good one,
GameCube
too.
or if that was PS2.
Jason owned that one for PS2.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I would have played it on then.
Yeah. The last one of this era is the Dreamcast.
Yes, the Dreamcast, and for me, it was Sonic Adventure. Was the first one I played, and the first one I owned.
You're rolling around at the
that song's actually from Sonic Adventure 2, but it's actually in my Dreamcast right now. Apparently,
there you go.
But Sonic Adventure, such a good game, absolute system seller. Like I played it at I remember the Carberries had Dreamcast.
Okay.
But they weren't like the nerdy type people, right? Like not the kind of people I generally hung out with, but they had I think they had the black Dreamcast, because Sega had the best sports games at the time, and because 2K was originally Sega Sports, and now they're like their own thing, right? And people were buying Dreamcasts because the 2K games or the Sega Sports games were so much better than like Madden.
They were way better than the EA ones.
Yeah. So I think they got it for the sports games, and then they got Sonic Adventure for whatever reason. And I remember we were over there for I was over there for some reason, and I just played the shit out of Sonic Adventure, and I was like, this is the coolest fucking game I've ever played in my life. Like, it just blew my mind because the graphics were like, keep in mind, the GameCube wasn't out yet, the PS2 wasn't out yet. It was you were comparing it to the PS1 basically.
PS1 and the PS1, the N64.
Yeah, so you compare like N64 and PS1 to Sonic Adventure, like doesn't even compare.
No contest.
So much better. Yeah, it was so good.
Absolutely.
What was your favorite or first Dreamcast game?
I've never played the Dreamcast before.
Okay, next time you come over, we'll play Dreamcast.
No,
we'll play Power Stone.
The first time I even held the damn controller was at your house when we were doing the controller episode.
Oh, really?
I've never had anything to do with the Dreamcast, because the thing was that, again, I'm invested in the Xbox at this point, right? By the time it circles around when I could theoretically possibly grab a Dreamcast, it's canceled.
Yeah, that's true. And why are you going to buy it if it's,
Absolutely. And the only thing I knew about the Dreamcast was that it came with a game called, it didn't come with, it had a game called Seaman.
Oh yeah,
and there was this guy when I was working at a store, and there was this guy who was working road crew, and he would come in and he'd get a Slurpee, Like every day, he'd come and get a Slurpee.
He
He's
looked
like,
like
he's
Seaman?
like, I'm getting this game. No, he's like, I got this game for my Dreamcast. It's called Seaman. You got to play it. You talk to this thing, and he grows, and it's the most amazing game I've ever played in my life.
You'll ever play.
It's super, super weird. And he was telling me about Seaman and Ready to Rumble Boxing.
Oh yeah.
So those are the first games
good on the Dreamcast.
Those are the first games that I heard of. I still have never played a game on the Dreamcast.
We'll have to play like Ready to Rumble or Power Stone or something.
Yeah,
next time you
yeah,
can.
yeah. Absolutely.
Power Stone's super
absolutely.
good. It's kind of a similar concept to like Smash Brothers.
Okay.
But it's mostly like all original characters. There's a couple Sega characters like you can play as Vice from Skies of Arcadia and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And it's more like a Rumble Arena. Like it's like Smash Brothers is like 2D, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this is more like 3D. So you're like on like an airship, say, and you can run all around the airship. You can jump and like you can get items to beat each other up with. And then just like in Smash Brothers, the stages are like changing. So all of a sudden, this airship gets shot down, so you have to jump onto another one, and you're constantly trying to like kill the guys you're playing.
Right.
It's very similar to Smash Brothers, but it's in a 3D setting instead of a 2D playing kind of thing. Super fun game.
Sweet.
Next,
how about PS3?
Yeah, PS3. For me, it was actually Resistance: Fall of Man, but I bought it for Metal Gear Solid 4. I was not going to buy a PS. I knew they had announced that they're going to make Metal Gear Solid 4 for the PS3, and I was like, hey, there's no point in buying one. And that's how I'm with the PS5. Like, I'm not going to buy one until like this game I must have comes out.
Until something comes out.
Yeah. And then I bought it because it was on sale for Boxing Day, and Metal Gear Solid 4 was coming out soon. So I bought it, and I grabbed Resistance: Fall of Man, and this game is super fucking good. Like, have you ever played Resistance?
Yeah, you and I were playing 2-player
on the second one, maybe
in college, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah.
We were playing co-op. It was like split screen or something.
The second one was so much better, but the first one is good too. And it's basically if you took like Call of Duty, and then had the guys because this is what it is. You had the guys that made Ratchet and Clank design the game.
Okay.
And then like all the weapons are all like super creative, like just like in Ratchet and Clank. So like my favorite weapon was always it's like shoots like these yellow drills, like energy drills, and the more surfaces or walls it goes through, the more damage it'll do. So you get this thing that lets you see through walls, like infrared, and then you'd see like an enemy, so you'd hide behind the wall, you'd fire a bunch of your shots, and then these drills keep going through walls and getting stronger and stronger. Like there's so many cool weapons in that game, and I just loved it.
I don't remember a whole bunch about it, but I do remember you playing through it. You were saying how fun it is. So the PS3 I didn't pick up until way later in it. I didn't jump in on the PS3 when they went to the slim model. I do still have a fat PS3.
Oh, okay.
Oh, moving everything around on my desk. I was trying to turn because it's right there.
Oh yeah. My fat's dead. My fat yellow lighted on me.
Yeah, and it's still chugging along just fine. I think it's backwards compatible, right? If they're fat like this, they're backwards compatible.
Most of them are, but some aren't.
Okay, so, and I haven't really tested that, but I do know that I stuck... Did I stick Final Fantasy 9 in here?
Well, PS1 games, all PS3s will play PS1. It's just whether they play
so it's the PS2
or not.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I'll have to test that and try that out. But the thing is that the very first game I played with my PS3 was Hot Shots Golf 3.
Oh, I remember those.
Out of Bounds.
Was Kratos in that one?
That was a lot of fun. No, that wasn't.
Okay.
No, it was just...
He was in one
I think it was just one of those... Yeah. And it was I don't know, it was just a lot of fun. I mean, I guess it depends if you count the Super Rub-a-Dub, the duck game.
Oh, yeah, with the
six-axis.
Right, that was stupid.
But I didn't jump into the PS3 until way, way, way later. And the reason why I got this Hot Shots Golf game was that I saw somebody playing it. I think it was Jason playing it. It's just a fun, like, sit down and waste time game.
It's kind of like got like a Mario Golf kind of vibe, right? From what I remember.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I didn't really have a lot of games on the PS3. I don't even know really why I bought it, other than you know why I bought it? I did not buy it to use it as a PS3.
Oh, Blu-ray player.
I bought it as a Blu-ray player. It was cheaper than a Blu-ray player. It was the cheapest Blu-ray player you could get. And that was actually why I bought the PS3.
That makes sense.
And And yeah, it's just one of those things. I did end up playing. I mean, we played Castlevania
Harmony of Despair.
Harmony
yeah,
of
we
Despair.
played that a lot on.
That was a lot of fun. And then I think I have the combo pack Shadow of the Colossus and Ico.
Oh, okay, yeah,
I think. But I never actually. I think it's still wrapped. I don't think I ever took it out of the wrap.
Shadows. I don't like really Shadow of the Colossus either. That's like another big name game that I found the first two Colossuses. I found they were like super fun and cool, but then you're like, oh, this is like the whole game. I just do that like 7 times.
It's the same thing over and over again.
I didn't really like that, but
yeah. After the PS3, that's where I wedged in the Xbox 360.
Okay, yeah.
And so I didn't buy a Xbox 360 on launch. I did buy it for Gears of War though.
Oh, okay.
Because that game was so good. It's funny because it felt like nothing that I had ever played before, and it was just fun. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. That's what I was into at the time. You know, we're talking like 2006-ish, 2005-ish. And yeah, I needed to have it, so I got my Xbox 360. I was working for a electronics store in my where I live now.
Yeah.
And I price matched my Xbox to a fake website.
So you could get it for cheaper?
So I took the American website because it's not like it is now where you can like just look at the stuff up online. You had to bring an ad in.
Right.
And so I brought the website in. It was the American website, and I printed it off because the exchange rate's like $150.
Right.
And they were like, okay, perfect. Boop, 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 boop. And they just exchanged it.
Nice.
And away we went.
Nice.
I was like, all right. Cheap. I kind of felt bad about that, but I've made my peace with it since then.
It can't be any worse than stealing a copy of Sonic 2 from your ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, that's right.
Can't be any worse than that. Did you? Okay, so yeah, I kind of mentioned my first PS3 yellow lighted, and then I remember Tom came over and we like did a kind of similar to like the towel trick, but it brought it back to life for a little while and then it died again.
Okay.
Did you have Red Ring of Death with your first Xbox 360 or not? Yes.
I went through 3 different Xbox 360s.
Holy
before
shit.
Before I got the one that I have now. So what ended up happening with the Xbox 360, the reason why it red ringed is when they created it, they put a really bad heat displacer on it. And so what ends up happening is the chip is supposed to the chip heats up, the displacer displaces the heat sink takes the heat and gets rid of it, right? That's the whole process. And what was happening is the displacer was warping when it got heated. So instead of sitting flush and flat, it would tip like this. And so the chip wasn't displacing its heat anymore, and so the chip would overheat, Xbox would fire down.
Oh, okay.
And so it was just a manufacturing flaw, right? And so what we ended up doing with our busted Xbox, we're talking back in the day here, okay? Yeah. What we would do with our busted Xbox is we would take them back into the store and be like, hey, this Xbox is broken, please replace it. And they weren't tracking serial numbers at the time, and they were like, you got it. And they would just replace the unit for us.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's
because we'd be like, oh, I got this. They're like, where's your receipt? I don't have one, but I would like to take a new Xbox home, please.
Yeah, or
they would.
Have you ever done the old trick where you buy a new one and then you put the old one in the box and then return?
That's what we ended up having to do for I think the third one that I replaced. Because they started wising up, and that was a crappy thing for us to do. I'm not encouraging that at all. Like I don't even think you can do that anymore. I think
you can't even return
I think the way it works now,
that works there.
It's basically full on like lockdown, and it's probably because of people like me
absolutely.
that got those rules.
I think everybody did it
at
least once.
but what ended up happening is they re-released the Xbox 360 in a different style that had better. Those heat displacers, and then I never had the problem again. The last Xbox 360, the one that I bought, this one that I have now, the one that I actually have, it failed on me during the climax fight of Mass Effect 3.
Oh.
And man, and you know how much I like Mass Effect. So I played Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 3. And if you can picture, like, okay, let's take this into Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. Luke is fighting with Darth Vader, okay? And then he strikes down and goes like this. And it shut down.
Crashed.
And it died. And I was like, no!
Oh, that happened to me with my PS3, like when it yellow lighted. But it was with Uncharted 3, when Uncharted 3 first came out. And have you played Uncharted 3?
I didn't play 3.
Okay.
I played 1 and 2.
There's like a flashback segment where you play as Nathan Drake when he's a little kid. And it's like it's like this scene where he like first meets Sully, and that's where it would freeze. And I was like, no!
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah, so it locked up at me in that moment. And within an hour, I had run to the store and bought a new system. What are you going to do? I got to finish the game.
Did you have to start the game all over?
No. Luckily, so the way that the Xbox 360 worked is that the hard drives were removable, right?
Yeah.
So the hard drive was on the side of it. Now, when you get to the new Xbox, you can't just plug it in. The new Xbox doesn't have its hard drive on the outside; it has its hard drive on the inside.
Oh.
So a little bit of jury rigging and fixing it, and I was able to get everything transferred over. It was okay.
That's good.
But yeah, it wasn't a fun experience. I'll tell you that much.
I also lost my 140 hour save of Dragon Warrior 7.
That's brutal.
Because I had all my PS1 games saved on there too, right?
Yeah.
PS2. That's why I never finished Dark Cloud 2. I thought it was a corrupt save file. I was talking to Fates the other day, but it wasn't. It was my PS3 died, and it took the save file for Dark Cloud 2
with it. See, a friend of mine in this time frame had played a ton of Oblivion. We're talking like 1,600 hours of it. Like a ridiculous amount of Oblivion.
That was like a hot game when it came out. That and like Fable.
That was so good.
Everybody was playing those.
Yeah, and his Xbox didn't crater on him. I think he still has that save file if he still has that Xbox.
Holy shit.
1,600 hours. Like, that's a ludicrous amount. But he played literally everything about that game. Like, he 100%ed it. It was crazy.
I remember Paul had PS2 and Final Fantasy 11 came out, like the online one. I remember that guy went through PS2s like I go through bread. Like, because he would just leave it on 24/7. Like, he played a shitload of EverQuest when EverQuest came out.
Was he playing? Yeah, and then Final Fantasy 11, right?
Yep. And fuck me, dude. That thing was so hot. Like, the fan was like just crying in pain all the time, and he'd leave it on 24/7. Yeah, he went through. I think there was like 1 month he went through like 3 PS2s. It was like,
oh man,
holy fuck, dude, you gotta turn this thing
brutal.
off. But he didn't want to queue up. He was like, I don't want to queue up. I'll just kill another PS2. Next I got.
How about the Wii?
Oh, sorry. For my Xbox 360, I still don't own
360,
one.
360. I don't, 360.
I guess the first game I own is Blue Dragon, but it's up on I forgot to grab it. It's up on my shelf. I haven't even played it.
Okay.
But the first one I played, I think, was Street Fighter 4 at your house on the 360, because I think Street Fighter 4 came out that day. And
it came out that day, and I picked it up.
And then we all kind of played it.
And I shouldn't have.
And it
was not. It wasn't. It was a. Don't get me wrong. The game was good, just not on that 360. 360 is the wrong console. Right, because the D-pad
was shit on the 360.
The D-pad was terrible, just garbage.
And then next up is I think the Wii, right? Is that what?
Yeah, the Wii.
So the Wii, I mean, other than fucking Wii Sports. Right, because that came with.
Yeah, I didn't use Wii Sports. Yep.
This was the game I bought my Wii for. Dragon Quest Swords.
Nice. Yep.
I was just getting back into Dragon Quest because Dragon Quest 8 had come out on the PS2, and then that's when I was like, "Fuck, man, this is Dragon Warrior," because I didn't know Dragon Quest was Dragon Warrior. And I was like, this is the fucking series I played when I was a little kid. So then I went back, I replayed Dragon Warrior 1, I bought Dragon Warrior 3 somewhere, played Dragon Warrior 3, then I played Dragon Warrior 4, and then I was like, that's when I played Dragon Warrior 7, which was like my favorite game for such a long time.
Right.
And then I was like, Dragon Quest Swords is coming out, and it looked sweet because I love fucking like rail shooters, like light gun shooters and stuff.
Yeah.
And this is like a light gun fucking sword game.
It's a rail shooter sword game.
Yeah, and I bought the Wii for Dragon Quest Swords, and I still have never finished this game. So one of these, I think my next follower goal, maybe I'll make it. If I hit that goal, I'll play through Dragon Quest Swords.
Do some waggles.
Yeah, well, it's like, and then you have to do like moves, like so you've got like your slashes, right? Like if there's slimes on screen. And then your power moves. You've got one where you like go like this and then like this, and then there's one where you there's one where you like put your arm up high and then you like go like that or something. I don't know. It's super fucking cool, but I really do want to finish it at some time. So maybe that's I'll put my next follower goal. But the first one I played, I think, was Red Steel at Chad's house.
Oh yeah. Same. I'd never seen a Wii. He was the only person I knew that actually had one. Because he stayed in line for it for the launch ones, right?
Oh, that's why. Okay.
So I think
because I think Wii was like another situation where Nintendo had like bullshit shortages where they're like, we're selling out like crazy because we only released 5 per store.
You couldn't get a Wii. Like they would come in and people would be fighting over them. They were in such, and it was that one was one of the most casual game player systems out there.
Yeah, like, my grandma had a Wii.
If you don't,
she played Wii bowling.
Yeah, if you don't game, you had a Wii. Yeah. You had a Wii for Wii Sports. Everyone had a Wii for Wii Sports. So my first Wii game that I bought. So the first one I played would have been Red Steel, the same time frame, the same place that you did. The first game that I bought was Super Mario Galaxy, which I played kind of a couple hours worth. I didn't really like it all that much, but it wasn't. Come on, lights. And it was because those aren't really my
kinds of games.
Those aren't really my games, and especially not at that time frame. That wasn't really what I was interested in. And then so I've got that here as literally the first one, but truly the first game that I actually cared about on the Wii was No More Heroes.
Oh,
and that game was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed No More Heroes. I played the crap out of that game. That was a good one.
Yeah, I remember you playing that one a lot. Okay, so next up, I got Wii U. The only game I own and the only game I played was Xenoblade Chronicles X, and it was kind of a mess. It was good at times and terrible at others, unfortunately.
That's way better than well, not way better than my game. My game was a lot of fun. The first game that I bought for the Wii U was Sonic All-Star Racing Transformed.
Oh, that's not a bad game. I like the first one.
It was a fun game. But... It was what it was. But it's not. It actually tells you a lot about the Wii U. Man, that console was a disaster.
Yeah, it was.
That was just a disaster. I mean, there's a handful of games. You know, you got Splatoon. You've got Chronicles X. You've got the original Xenoblade Chronicles on Wii that would have been able to be played on the Wii U. But there really wasn't a lot of games on the Wii U that were really even worth playing. We picked it up for Smash Bros. Brawl.
No, Brawl was Wii as well. There's just Wii.
Which one was on the Wii U?
I don't think there was
just
one.
Smash Brothers Wii U?
Yeah.
I think there was.
Oh, was there a Wii U one?
Yeah, and then the new Super Mario Brothers Wii U, that was fun.
Right, I played that a little bit at Bubs's, I think just one time.
Yeah. It just wasn't, I don't know, it's just that console was the reason why I wasn't going to buy a Switch.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, Nintendo's had their run. This is it. I won't be buying another one ever again.
That was the Wii for me. Like, that's why I didn't touch the Wii U. Because
the
Wii,
well,
I did not like.
I went the Wii. I wasn't going to get the Wii U, but both my brothers. They have this ability with me. So both of them had it, and they were like, well, you're the only one that doesn't have it. We're playing these games. You should play with us. And I'm like, I don't want the Wii U. It looks so stupid.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's not dumb. Look how great it is. And then it's like, okay. And then I got it. And then they stopped playing it every single time. It's always the same thing. Didn't
Jason had like Zombie U or something, right?
Oh yeah, Jason always. So all of these systems, he had all of them, and he had the largest game catalog out of all of them. He was primarily the reason why, if I wasn't already like the Xbox 360, I think is the only Xbox and the Xbox 360 are the only game consoles on this entire list that I'm like, I want this for me.
Oh, okay.
The rest of them was he owned it, and he would be like, look at this, and I'd be like, I want one of those too. Okay. And then I would get the same thing. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So that takes us into the next set, which is the PS4, the Switch, and the Xbox One.
Yeah, so PS4, what was the first game you played or first game you owned on PS4?
The first game I owned and played on the PS4, and the reason why I got it was for Destiny.
Oh, okay. That game was huge.
And again, the exact same reason as I just said with the Wii U, both Jason and Justin had picked up Destiny, and they were like, hey, we need a third person in our squad. You should get a PS4 and get this game. And I was like, hey, Finney, you should get this game. And I got him to buy it too. And Destiny was one of those brutal games. I don't know if you know much about Destiny.
I've never played it.
So they released the game. Okay, so here's the way that Destiny works and how they squeeze every penny out of you they can. So they go, here's Destiny. Here's the game. And it's an online game, and it's online only, and you play with your friends, and it's really fun. Here you go, $80, please. Thanks. Take it. And they're like, here's the expansion. Now you can't play your game without this expansion, and the expansion's $20. So you either buy the expansion or stop playing your game.
Really?
Okay, thanks for $20. Okay, here's expansion number 2. You have to buy expansion number 2, otherwise you can't play with your friends anymore. Would you like to continue going? Right? And so when I picked this up,
shitty.
I picked up the Legendary Edition that has all of it bundled in, the game and the expansions for the price of $80.
Right.
Whereas poor Finney already had Destiny.
Oh, so he had to buy both expansions.
So he basically doubled down. He paid $80 for the
God.
game, and then he paid another $80 for the expansions. It's ridiculous. And then they released Destiny 2. Guess what they do? The same damn thing.
Way.
Literally the exact same thing. Yeah, I don't.
That's so shitty, dude.
Destiny is a really fun game. Destiny is a lot of fun. But that, I don't like that.
Who makes the Destiny
If you're going to drop
games?
a game, Bungie.
Oh, okay. Like the OG Halo guys.
Of course.
Fuck,
They love
man.
money.
That sucks.
It's a really fun game. It's just, I don't like that practice. I think that's crappy. But yeah, so the PS4, that was my first game. That's the reason why I picked that up. And then it was Gundam Breakers 3.
Oh, that was a good one.
Fantastic.
That was a really good game.
Yeah.
The first game I owned on PS3 or PS4, sorry, was and I couldn't find it. I know I have it. I don't know where it is. Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, which was like the shitty 2-hour game they released because Metal Gear Solid 5 wasn't done being made yet, and Konami was like, I don't know, just fucking release something. We need something.
Just throw it out there. We need money.
Yeah,
we're running out.
It was like one tiny area, and it was just one mission, but
full price.
Yeah, full price. It was like $80 or $70, I think they were at the time. And it was about you could beat it in 2 hours, like the story. But there was a lot of like optional content. Of course, I 100%ed it, but it's like, fuck me, man, that sucked.
That's unfortunate.
That sucked. But I got it.
Unfortunate.
I got the PS4. I got that. I don't even know what game I got after that, but I played the shit out of it. And when the real Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, I loved it, but they kind of fucked over the ending on that as well. And then I think the last game on the list is the Switch.
2 more. The Switch and the Xbox One.
Oh, do you have an Xbox?
Did you even play the Xbox One?
I haven't played an Xbox One or a PS. Oh, wait. Is Xbox One last gen or new gen?
So Microsoft. There's Xbox One. That is the PS4 Switch generation.
Oh, okay. I thought that was the...
There's Xbox One X. That's the PS5 generation.
Oh. I don't...
So the Xbox One, that is the successor to the Xbox 360.
Okay.
So this console I bought into the damn hype, and I bought a launch console. I broke my own rule. Never buy a launch console. Terrible plan. And I picked up Xbox One I bought with Dead Rising 3 and Forza Motorsport 5. Both fun games, not worth the launch
price
money for it. Not even close. They're fun, just not great. So, and then honestly, I think I picked up maybe 2 or 3 more games after that, and then I never touched my Xbox One again.
I don't think I've ever seen an Xbox One in my entire life.
They're all right. I mean, it's boxy. It is what it is. I mean, I don't know. It's the thing is what happened for me is I started falling out with consoles.
Yeah.
I started hating consoles. I started moving into PC gaming because what happened was before you couldn't do this. Now you can take your PS4 controller, your Xbox One controller, whatever, plug the USB in on one, plug it into the computer, and your computer will auto calibrate to the stupid joypad, it'll recognize it as what it is.
Yeah.
So if you plug in the PlayStation 4 controller, all the games you play on Steam now are mapped to PS4.
Yeah.
And they even show the stupid overlay because the game's the exact same game it is on the other ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just shows a different overlay. So I didn't even bother. I stopped buying console games for that purpose because I would rather play them on my computer.
Right.
And so that ended up what ended up happening with the Xbox One. You've never played the Xbox One before.
No, never.
You're not missing anything.
I haven't played a single game or anything on it.
The thing is that at a point, when we got PS3, Xbox 360, from that point forward, when it split, the consoles were identical.
Yeah, pretty
different
much,
people made them, but they're the exact same thing. It doesn't make a difference anymore, right? Xbox One to PS4, same thing, different flavors. Xbox One X to PS5, same thing, different flavors. There's really not a lot of difference here anymore.
Yeah.
They all offer the same thing. They're just made by different companies.
Maybe like 3
the exclusives are long gone
on each console,
and the exclusives suck.
No, some of them are good, like Uncharted, and then Forza. You know what I mean? Like Xbox will always have Forza.
But yeah, I guess that's my own personal bias, but I'm not buying a PS5 for Forza. Or an Xbox for Forza.
No,
I don't care. Like, it's just I don't care. Like, the games that I want to play are available to all, including PC. And it's like, I just don't even care anymore. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. So that leaves the Switch.
Yeah.
I bought my Switch because my older brother told me to buy the
Fuck
Switch.
again.
And so he had picked one up and he was playing through all these games. And he showed me Splatoon 2, and that was why I bought the Switch, so we could play Splatoon 2 together.
Okay.
And that game was so much fun multiplayer. Now I haven't gone back to Splatoon 2, and I don't think I ever will. I don't think I'll ever play it again.
Right.
But when we were playing it together, that game was so much fun. Like we put in a stupid amount of hours into that game. I have over 100 and something hours clocked into that game on my Switch.
Holy shit.
It's one of my most played games that I have on there. Just because it was just so much fun. And it's so simple. But yeah, it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've never played the Splatoon games, but...
They're good. Yeah, they're going to release I saw the ad for
Splatoon
Splatoon 3 is coming out.
Yeah,
but
it does look
yeah,
good.
I don't know if I'll be jumping in on it, but...
a
lot of fun.
For me, I didn't want to get the Switch until they announced that Dragon Quest XI S was coming out, like the definitive edition. So I actually saved up all my money. I spent, I think, $800.
Yeah,
and I got the limited edition Dragon Quest XI S Nintendo Switch console. So it's got like the whole like Erdrick sword kind of thing on the docking station, and then the shield, and then it's got the liquid metal slime.
That's a Japanese exclusive, isn't it?
It's a Japanese exclusive, so I had to get it from Japan.
It's an import.
Yeah, and it's. I don't regret it. Like, it's super awesome, but the fucking one Joy-Con has Joy-Con drift, and if you send it into Nintendo, you're not guaranteed to get the same Joy-Con back. So that fucking sucks a lot. But Dragon Quest XI S is my favorite game of all time, so it's definitely worth getting that console. I still don't own very many Switch games. It's probably the console I own the least amount of games for still. In physical form, I do have like a lot of like the digital ones and stuff.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's kind of where it's going now, right? Like, I mean, I think as consoles go forward, I'll probably own less physical games. But to be perfectly fair, I'll probably own less consoles.
Yeah, I think you will.
The games I'm just buying them on the PC these days. It just makes more sense for me to do it that way.
I have the worst luck.
I still haven't come. Sorry, go ahead.
I have the worst luck with PCs, so
you don't go well with the PC.
To try and buy it. The thing that kills me is when I buy a PC game and then it doesn't work, and it's like I'm out like $60 for nothing.
Yeah, or you have to spend a few hours troubleshooting and stuff like that. But I have better luck with my PC with that. The thing is, I'll pick up either an Xbox One X or a PS5, and it'll probably be a PS5.
Yeah, same.
But only when
a
game comes out that I actually want to play. And it's got to be quite a game.
Yeah,
otherwise,
same.
I'm just going to be like, I don't really care. Because it's too expensive.
Way too expensive.
It's just way too expensive.
Well, and that's the thing with the... I love physical media. Like, I hate that there's a version of these new consoles that don't have disc options.
They don't even allow you to use
physical. I think
yeah.
that's really, really bad because you don't own something, right? Like if I buy a game and I don't like it, I can sell that game, right? You can't do that. And that's kind of what they want you to go to. And there's a lot of people that are like, fuck it, I don't own anything anyways. It's like, yeah, you do. You own that game. But the whole reason on the Switch most of the stuff I own are digital is because, A, video games are super expensive. So most of the games I own on the Switch are like arcade games, like Outrun. I have the arcade version of Outrun on my Switch. I've got like Night Slashers, like a bunch of just like, it's just arcade games pretty much, and like retro games that I downloaded on it. So that's pretty much why it's all digital on there. But
yeah, exactly. I'm impartial. I'll get, if I have the option to, I'll get the physical copy
same.
over,
especially now that they're the same
copy.
price, because for the longest time you'd save like $10 or $20 if you got it digital.
Yeah, it'd be a different story. If it was like half price to buy digital, I don't think I'd ever buy a physical copy again.
Yeah.
I don't care enough to keep one to pay more for it. But I do like having a physical copy of it. The thing is that if they got rid of it, I also wouldn't. It wouldn't bother me any. Yeah. It is what it is. It would be annoying, right? But I think the other thing that would do is that would increase the cost of all consoles and games before it, because now they're not going to make them anymore.
Yeah,
so I
no
think
doubt.
It would make them more
It'll
rare.
make the price go up even higher.
Crinkle's saying in chat something about being locked out from Scott Pilgrim on the PS3 and the Xbox 360.
That's exactly why I did not buy the new release of Scott Pilgrim 3. Because I'm not buying or Scott Pilgrim again. Because I'm not buying the same game twice when I bought it and they locked me out of the fucking game.
So what happened? I'm out of the loop here.
Ubisoft pulled an Ubisoft is what fucking happened.
Oh, it's Ubisoft. Well, I mean, okay, that's all I needed to hear then.
Ubisoft released Scott Pilgrim, which is it's like a River City Ransom style beat 'em up game. Incredible!
Yeah,
it's
I've
like
seen the
one
game
of the
before.
best games ever.
It was a lot of fun from what I saw.
And then they, instead of renewing the rights, they just lost the rights, and then they just locked you out of the game and it deleted off your console. It's like,
what?
Yeah. So like.
And they didn't refund you?
No, so if everything goes digital, there's a chance all manufacturers, all game devs could just do that someday for a game you love. It's complete fucking bullshit.
That's
and
ridiculous.
then now,
That's
like 10 years
ridiculous.
later, they're re-releasing it and charging you fucking $60 to $80 for the game again.
Even if you had a copy already, it doesn't
that
matter.
shit, man.
That's ridiculous.
Same with Ninja Turtles. You had Ninja Turtles, didn't you? When Ubisoft remade Turtles in Time on PS3.
Yeah, I have that on my 360. I think somewhere.
So
if I booted up my 360, it'd be
it probably isn't now, because they lock you out of it because they don't have the rights to Ninja Turtles.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it's dog shit, man, and that's the main reason. That is the biggest reason why I do not want things to go full digital.
So my biggest thing with things going digital was the concern that they would force you to maintain your subscription in order to access your content.
Yeah, that's bad too.
Right? I don't like that. Yeah. Crinkle's saying the Simpsons arcade was the same.
Yeah. I can actually play Simpsons Arcade and
Ninja Turtles?
Nope, I can't play Ninja Turtles, but I can play X-Men Arcade. Those are the only two that I'm still allowed to play. But if I were to delete them, I'd never be able to download them again.
You'll never get them back again because they're gone off the store. Yeah. Ridiculous, but... Oh man, too much fun. I mean, that was a lot of fun running through that list. I gotta say, it was especially fun to kind of think back to some of those stories.
Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to do this. Was like all the little stories for like why we got this game, how we got this game. I just thought that'd be kind of cool to talk about.
And I mean, we're interested to know what were some of your first games. Throw it into the comments, throw it in the chat. Let us know.
You can throw it in the Discord even after the stream, or if you're watching this on YouTube, tell us in the comments what some of one of your first games were for each console you got and why you got it. And if you got any fun stories like Mike's crack story.
Just ridiculous, but I'd say that's probably about a wrap on this one.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Again, you can join us on Twitch. I'm at twitch.tv/Dukey03.
And you can find me over at twitch.tv/DG online.
And you can check out, if you're not catching this live, you can always watch it on YouTube, youtube.com/Dukey03. Or if you're on Spotify, you can search for Relax Retro Talk. It'll come up. What do you do? You can subscribe or follow
Yeah, you can just hit the
podcast,
one button. If you hit the one button to follow the
then
podcast, you'll have
get
the new episodes.
Yeah, every time a new one goes up. And then you can check us out on Facebook. We have a Luminaries of the Livestream Facebook group. Just search for that. You'll find us there. And of course, the best place to stay in touch is the Discord. I'll put all the links in the description below. And Mike, just maybe re-explain quickly the charity we got on October 16th again.
Yeah. Absolutely. So on October 16th, we're doing a stream for benefiting in support of Crohn's and Colitis candidates, and basically in honor of my older brother who passed away. The name of the stream is going to be Spectre Fest. It's a 24-hour stream. Dukey and I are splitting that up over the course of from 10 a.m. October 16th, Saturday, October 16th, to 10 a.m. Sunday, October 16th. So at any time during that period, you can come to either of our Twitch channels, and you'll see the stream that's going on. You can also go to bit.ly/specfest, SPECFEST, to learn more, watch a video, learn about the story, the reason why we're doing it, and there's some links for donations if you're interested in supporting the cause. Every single penny that is earned for the stream is going directly to Crohn's and Colitis Foundations, and it's just going to be a great time. Lots of fun stuff planned. You guys are in for a treat.
All right, guys.
We haven't done a 24-hour stream in literally, since 2008?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
On literally the same damn day.
Yeah, that's
too,
crazy.
When we booked it's
crazy.
Literally the same day. So yeah, no, it's going to be a good time.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching or listening, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Have a great one. Take care, everyone.